First, you have to know your business well and really understand the industries that we are in well, really well. The second obvious thing is that everybody expects you to know finance, so that's taken for granted. Two other things that I think really matter. One needs to have a world view of the businesses that we are in. And secondly, understand risk intuitively. Because if you look at the CFO's job, it's not just about finance, it's also looking at risk management. And understanding risk is a great place to start. Businesses are changing. Technology is changing businesses faster than we've ever seen before. Regulation around the world is changing. That is really impacting everybody in the financial sector. And we are part of the Indian economy, and that itself has seen change in the last 12 months and has become a more challenging place to be in. We have had some exciting things that we have done in the last 15 odd years. But as I look back, each of them, we try and do it the same way, which is be very focused on what you want to achieve. And the second more important thing is be in charge of execution and not let anybody else take that over. So that's what has worked for us. So when we look at liquidity, I think most companies in India are passing through a difficult phase now when they're having to search for liquidity. But these are liquidity cycles. We have seen them before, and typically every 2 or 3 years, as a combination of factors, we get into a liquidity squeeze. Fundamentally, India's savings are high, but the available pool of liquidity to the corporate sector is not big enough to finance India's growth. So every 2 or 3 years, we get into a situation where liquidity just seems less than what the industry needs. Strategy doesn't happen every day, and people make out too much of strategy, frankly. I think it's very important for the CFO to really be a good team player with other senior members in the company to think about strategy on a medium-term and long-term basis. That's the only real quality that I think works. Well, that's not so tough. It's frankly about consistency and making sure that you address the special considerations that every stakeholder has. So when it comes to the board, they're relying on the fact that we have integrity of our financial accounts, that risk management is adequately addressed within the company, and that we are in compliance with all regulators around the world. When it comes to the CEO and other senior members of the team, it's all about partnership, working together towards a common objective. And when you look at both internal and external stakeholders, they are really looking for consistency in communication over a long period of time. So finally, it all boils down to good communication and consistency. The challenges basically fall into 2 buckets. I think the first challenge is that the industries that we operate in continue to change every year. And that kind of keeping up with the changes in the businesses that we are in is the number one challenge that we have. And the second challenge is really developing leadership talent to give a lot more capability within the finance function. That's an ongoing challenge too. And both of those occupy a front position in our mind all the time. Pretty basic, actually. I think, when we look across the people that we have and all the young people that we hire, 2 things stand out, diligence and the ambition to succeed. And I think if you look at the organization that I have, the biggest gaps are in the number of people who are really willing to be diligent at work and learn more every day. And surprisingly, a very small number of people actually have the ambition to succeed. Most are quite happy to, have a reasonably successful career without really wanting to be very, very successful. Well, I can only speak for myself. We've already implemented that. I have a joint CFO and I have a fairly deep bench of professionals within the finance function. We've also in the last 1 year hired CFOs for each of our businesses. And as I look around, I think, today we are in a much better place, even within the finance community, than we were 5 years ago. So I would say, yeah, people are taking it seriously. I think if you look at the last 3 to 4 years, uh, volume growth and margin expansion have really happened in the emerging market countries, as these economies have grown faster than any time before. For the first time, after a gap of 3 to 4 years, we are seeing a slowdown in all emerging market economies around the world. So slow growth will come with margin pressure, and those, I think, are the challenges that all of us are going to deal with between the next 6 to 12 months. But I don't know where you got this impression that it's a stressful job. I frankly think it's like any other job. You just have to do it well, and you have to decide what you do outside the office, which for me is basically watching movies and running on Marine Drive, and it kind of works well.